discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/BGUnlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome to a no run-through review over Detective City of Angels, the Sleuth alternate variant. If you don't know, the Sleuth mode is basically a solo mode or a fully cooperative mode. To hear what we thought of the game in its classic mode, where one person plays the Chisel or the GM, go check out our actual discussion and run through of that. Here we're just only going to be talking about what our thoughts are on the game in its sleuth form. So, what do you guys think?
Oh, much better.
You think so?
It brings my score up.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? It definitely does bring my score up as well. Obviously, because it brings it up mainly because this is really, really good in co-op, and I also think it's really good in its classical.
Oh yeah.
As well. So basically, they made two forms of this game where their main idea was to do the Chisel, the classic mode. Mm-hmm. So you think that they would just have focused more on that and then be like, who gives a shit about the other one? But it still worked out like amazingly. I have a few. I wouldn't say negative things about it. Do you guys have any negative things about the? I have two.
My only negative that comes to mind at the moment is that with it being 3 players and it's only the second case, so it's easy.
Yeah, we did the murder at Sunset Boulevard because we wanted to, for the run-through, we did the very first case, which is still a gumshoe, and to test out the sleuth mode, we also did another easier case.
With it being easy, like, we had double the time that we did the first game.
Yeah. And
we had it solved
by 3 turns in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
That's just because the difficulty setting. I'm sure if we were to do a veteran
or a hard boiled.
I don't know about hard boiled.
Shit in our pants.
Yeah. I feel like veteran.
I think it was this person. Let's check. Wasn't even close.
This person's not even.
But yeah, and then I had my moment of clarity there right at the end where we're like, let's just solve it.
Yeah, there was that, and that's one of my biggest negatives. And it could only be because we've done it at the easier one. 12 turns might not even be enough for a veteran or even a hard boiler that we're like...
We have to go into like double overtime.
Yeah. So, but it is kind of annoying that you have to wait for the final guess, which and that's what makes it a little bit different. But yeah, that's one of my negatives. The other negative I have about the sleuth mode, which is not really a negative, like I said, it's just something of it's something to bring up, so a discussion topic, I guess. I kind of feel like with the sleuth mode, you then turn this game into something that is already done in 5 other games.
Yeah.
Like you have the Chronicles of Crime, Detective Modern Crime, meet the 4 other games, and Sherlock Holmes. And hell, there's even another one that's really, really old called Witness, which is similar. So yeah, 5 other games. So then it doesn't really differentiate itself enough in the sleuth mode. What do you guys think about that?
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
It definitely turned into a cooperative whodunit.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the other ones, like some of one, like Detective and Chronicles, they're not always whodunit. Like
no,
like in the last ones we did for both of those, it was like, oh shit, like there's some dark.
Yeah,
story.
It's like.
That's weird.
Well, I will say though is like this kind of has a little feeling of Chronicles and Sherlock Holmes, because instead of an app reading everything, you have the sleuth book, which I think is awesome. The sleuth case book. I think this is really, really neat. But what it takes from Chronicles of Crime is that you can go to these people with individual things and ask them about stuff, versus Sherlock, where it's just you get what you get.
It's so vast.
Yeah, well, it's more it's just more cut and dry. Like, if you find that information in Sherlock Holmes, you can't go back to someone else and ask them about it. In this and in Chronicles, you can.
Yeah.
Which I always think is fantastic because I always hated that in Sherlock. It's like, great, now we have to kind of deduce and figure out, oh, well, that person must have been lying, which is still fine. Like, don't get me wrong, but as more and more of these games come out, Sherlock keeps going to the bottom, and all these other ones just keep going up. But with that being said, I feel like, and it's still a great testament to this game, is that I do think you're missing something without the chisel, just a little bit. You don't have that tension. You don't have that competitive nature of like, oh man, what did they find out? That I would also like to find out. Quit yawning!
You can't!
Like, you can.
You can't.
You have no reason to be tired.
Why?
Because you just don't. None of us are tired. So.
Well, I've only been awake for 3 hours.
But yeah, so whenever you have the chisel, giving you that, because then you can also be like, oh, well, what did they say? What options did I have? Is he telling the truth? And then, oh, he can get leverage over me. You miss that competitive nature. But if you don't like the competitive nature, then you have a really good cooperative mode.
A good variant.
As well. And hell, even a good solo mode. Like, granted, all of them can be played solo, so nothing really changes. What do you think? What do you think about that in particular? Do you think you were missing out on anything with the cooperative? No?
No, it's fair to say that the chisel is like, what gives this game its edge, that unique aspect. But I mean, I enjoyed the co-op version better.
Yeah, because you're not like, oh, well, I suck at this. So, and I will say, like we played noir jazz music over, which helps a lot. But yeah, you do have a more interactive experience.
Yeah.
With the cooperative nature versus the classic mode, because you're not all hoarding information and just doing your turn and then only really interacting with the chisel. And here it's this constant flow of conversation because it's like, oh, well, what should we do next? What should I ask him about? And just kind of figuring out the story. But yeah, I mean, really, like, there's not a whole lot because, like, if you want to know more of what we thought of the game itself, go check out the other discussion. But the way they kind of make this still fit the theming is that you can still challenge the people. You can still search locations, and they come with these question cards, which I think is really cool. That tells you what paragraph to go in the sleuth book, and then what to search. And there's no hidden information. You literally only do your actions, and then the big twist is that there's a final guess marker that goes up based off how much stress you get. And you get stress when you incorrectly challenge, which then flips it over. Once you get 3, then it goes up, and you just shorten the amount of days. Which, like I said, the game could be like incredibly like, oh wow, what are we gonna do? In harder cases. But I also will say I do like that they have the different difficulties.
I like that too.
Because Sherlock doesn't have that. You just have a case, and there are some that are easier than others. But for the most part, I thought this was still a lot of fun, and felt just like the other ones. So I don't know which one I'd rather play. Like, I'm honestly torn. Which one would you rather play? The chiseled one or the fully cooperative? I mean, Cat's fully cooperative, so that's a negligible question.
I think for me it'll depend on amount of players.
Gotcha.
I feel like if we had a third detective, the
like 4 total players, 1 chisel, and okay.
I feel like that would do a lot because obviously it was just down to like, what information did she get? What did I get? And then we're just kind of copying off one another. With a third person, that opens up so much more.
Yeah.
So I would say 3 or more detectives and then the chisel.
Yeah.
That would be better with... That would be better.
Yeah.
And then cooperatively, this felt great.
Yeah, 3 people. Yeah.
I feel like 3 is really just a good number for this game.
Plays 1 to 5. So basically, you're saying 4 to 5 players for Chisel, 3 or less cooperative sleuth mode. I would agree with that. I think that's a fair assessment. Because you're right. With the Chisel, it is just you two like going after each other. Yeah, the third one would be like, oh, what did he find out? And then he could be going on the completely different path.
And like one person's case could be completely cold, and then in the snap of like their fingers, they've found out what the other two have, and then are on the trail.
Yeah.
Like I like the aspect of that. So 4 to 5 players with the Chisel, 3 or less with the sleuth.
The sleuth. Yeah. I mean that hits the nail right on the head for me. The other thing I want to reiterate is that the voiceover is almost a must. Go on their website, vanridergames.com I think is what it is, and find, because they read the briefings, which he does such a good job with it. I almost wish that he did the epilogues too.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That would have been really nice, but I very much like the epilogues. I always love that in any of them, though. Like Sherlock, whenever it's just like...
Because you feel accomplished.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, yeah, we did it. And this one was really cool at how you went to the paragraph, too, because what you do is you write your suspect, weapon, and motive, and then you add up numbers, and that tells you the paragraph to go to. And then it tells you, oh, if the detective says, congratulations, you did it. If not, then you go into overtime, and it gives you plenty of chances of overtime. And then if you go into overtime twice, and it's like, okay, you failed. Here's the other thing that kind of not really upsets me, but it's like what I really liked about the Chisel was once again the banter of, well, not really of me physically saying it, but the reactions that I could give you and that I can give her. I feel like I was kind of missing that in the sleuth mode because there wasn't any of that. Like if I was looking at the case for this one in whatever book, here we go,
the Chisel book.
In the Chisel book for the second one, and we can look at it now, those are all the options we had.
Yeah, there's like double the amount.
Yeah, so we're missing a lot of options and a lot of things that they could say. Now, some of it is actually it's still things that we were told, and maybe they're actually all the same. Like the same, and it just looks like there's more versus the book, but it's so good. Like so, yeah. I mean, I like I really liked it. So scale of 1 to 10, Kat. Your initial score was a 7.
My initial score was a 7. With the co-op, I would bump it up because I really like detective games. I'd bump it up. To an 8.5.
8.5?
Yeah.
That's a pretty significant jump.
Yeah.
Would you agree with Josh? Would you like the Chisel, like, classic mode at 4 or 5?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Josh?
It's a 9.
A 9? Yeah. I am at a 9.5 because I can't imagine that the cases getting harder being any less fun. In fact,
no.
I actually want them to be harder because, like, I love the struggle and trying to figure it out. We had that for a little bit in this one, but then like once we kept getting more and more information, and since there were 3 of us just constantly getting information, there was no, well, what did you know, what do I know, what does she know?
Yeah.
Trying to come up with our own solutions.
We had a lot of...
And that's what I'm saying about I'm missing something, because we all were like, we can all just harass her, and that's...
Yeah, we just like...
That's 12 turns.
12 questions.
Exactly, and you just get all the information regardless, so you don't have that... Like, okay, well, instead of me asking them, I'm just going to go to where they're at and figure out what you have, because you have a specific card that I cannot get. So that's the kind of thing that I'm missing, but still, like, with the added difficulty of the cases, with both modes being available and equally good, depending on your playstyle, and it's just...
That's balance.
Yeah.
That's amazing balance.
This company, Van Ryder Games, and the crime story by Evan Derrick, fantastic job. Like, Van Ryder is just, they're an up-and-coming company, I feel like. Big Score was Surprisingly,
So fun.
it was a lot of fun. Even though whenever we set it up and first time played it, we were like, oh, this is gonna be stupid and like overly complicated.
Yeah.
And they come off. The games always seem way more complicated than you play, and you're like, oh, okay.
Which is
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Pleasant surprise.
So yeah, with Big Score, we were like, this is a lot of fun, and we played it, and it's still a lot of fun, even though I lost. And then hostage negotiate, like it. The companies like that who make good games make me want to go, because I've seen Hostage Negotiator before, and I was like, that doesn't really seem fun. But since their games have been a 2 out of 2 for me, I'm like, well, I should check out their other ones. Stonemaier was the same way. I'm like, I gotta play all their games. Uwe might actually be that way with Indian Summer. So just companies that do solid work, and they may have misses. Hostage Negotiator might suck ass, but you never know. But the fact that they still do really good work, if they don't just overproduce and make the same game over and over. It's just a testament to what gaming can still do, especially when they're kickstarted. Because I don't think this company would even be around if that's the glory of Kickstarter. But also, anyway. So, it also says 30 to 50 minutes or to 150 minutes. That seems about right. Like so that I didn't feel like it was overly long. And even with detective games, if it's like integrated and you like are involved in it the entire time, you can be like, oh wow, that case took 3 hours, holy shit, like I was involved the entire time though, so time flew.
It doesn't feel like it drags at all.
Yeah, no, there was not once, even whenever we were pretty sure of the answer, we were still invested in the story instead of like, oh come on. Now if we had to wait 9
that would have caused
issues. Like, this is stupid. So technically we cheated because we're like, let's just go ahead and guess. I guess if you can, then you'll just say, okay, now you're into overtime. Like that could be your punishment if you got it wrong.
House rule it, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our thoughts on Detective City of Angels, the Sleuth mode. If you want to know what we thought of the classic mode, go check out the regular discussion and watch the run through. But let me know what you think of the Sleuth mode in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.